This is Words of Wisdom Wednesdays, where Samantha and I talk about different topics and even relate to different things that we're going through in our life. So, both me and Samantha can totally relate to being people pleasers in recovery and knowing what it's like to relationships are just so important to us, and knowing what it's like to feel the pressure to please the people in our life and the relationships and not to upset anyone or make them feel bad or make them feel left out. And like, I also know that me and Sam have big feelings too. So we try to prevent other people from feeling hurt in the big ways that we feel hurt, you know? So we wanted to talk about this with you guys today and share our mana'o and our stories of people pleasing and like things that that have come out of that. Uh-oh. So I gotta turn my volume off on this one because
yeah, and I was like, I can hear you.
feeling hurt in the big ways that we feel.
There we are. I hear you.
I wanted to talk about this with you guys today, and
well, I will share a little bit while Chastity is fixing her volume. For those of you who are watching us live, I'm not sure if there's anyone watching us live. I'm sharing now on my Dreamers, Believers, Doers, and my personal page. Oh, we could also even share on the gems. Let's do that too. We go all places. Let's share everywhere. But Chastity is fixing her.
I fixed it. I turned the volume off.
Oh, okay,
Sam.
okay.
Okay, so my story of people pleasing and something that I learned out of that story is I choose this story that came to my heart about dating a woman. So I, a few years ago, got into a relationship and I was with a woman, and I've never dated a woman prior to that. So coming out to my family was interesting. There's different people in my family who have already come out, and you know, it's not a thing that my family is like against or like banishes anybody for, but it was a shocker to my mom. So, and I knew it would be like, I knew she would not approve of this relationship, but also like she approved for different reasons, not only that she was a woman, but for other things too. And that those are besides the point, because it's really that like telling my mom was the hard thing. And she called me insecure, and she said I was only doing this because I don't have confidence and I don't know who I am, and she don't want this person around. And she got very upset. She started crying. I was like, you accept our cousins, you accept other people in our family. Why can't you accept this? You know? And she's like, because this is not what I envisioned for your life. This is not what I wanted for your life. That like, and I think so many people can relate to that, of just like people having expectations of us, you know? And that's like the people pleasing thing. Like, it's knowing that people have expectations, and also for so long playing into those expectations. Like, that's what I learned about that, was like that for so long I had played into my parents' expectations of me and did what they told me to do, and was the good daughter and went to school and got good grades and was class president and this and that and the other thing and got my master's degree, you know? So it was really like doing something that I really wanted to do for myself outside of what they expect of me. That changed, or that was like the foundation of that, you know? And yeah. And I kind of learned to take accountability for the expectations that I fall into with other people, and like how I do things for them, not for myself, and not like perpetuating that pattern and stopping that in some ways, you know? But also for me, it was a big statement of I'm going to do what I want to do because I want to do it. And I didn't lose my mom, and I'm grateful for that. And I didn't lose any family members, and I'm grateful for that. And maybe they were disappointed in me, but I can handle them being disappointed in me more than I thought I could, you know? So I also proved to myself that other people's feelings they can have, and I don't have to do anything about it, you know, or even be blamed about it. And that's my story of people pleasing.
I remember you walking through that journey. I was there as you were navigating that journey, and I think you did it very beautifully as you were opening up and stepping up into a new expansion of yourself and saying, no, I'm doing this for me. This relationship is for me, not for anybody else. I don't care what anybody thinks. And not in a negative way or in an angry way or resentful way, or even a rebellious way. It was simply because this is what you were making this decision for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And seeing everyone eventually come around for the most part, it didn't stay that way, right? Yeah. Because they saw you owning you. So that was beautiful, and I really appreciated and loved seeing you in that journey. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, sis.
Yeah.
Yes. And it wasn't about the relationship lasting forever, whatever. Like I'm a big believer that even seasonal relationships have so much value. You know, we like Absolutely. To judge seasonal relationships and think that long-term relationships are more valuable, but that's not true. There's so many things that get to be gifts in seasonal short-term relationships in our life. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Thank you for sharing that. You know, Chastity went first because Sam is navigating. I am navigating in my upward spiral of becoming my people-pleasing recovery, right? Where recovering people pleasers, as we announce to the world, and there's always an upward expansion and spiral of growth. And so I'm in that season right now in a certain area of my life, which I will share with you later a little bit more in detail as I let some of the people who I feel deserve to be notified sooner than later before the public does. But in speaking about people pleasing, one of the things that I want to speak upon is the subtle nuances of it. You know, Chastity was explaining her story about people pleasing in a relationship, like her relationship. People had opinions about her relationship. People and that was just impacting her. Like her relationship impacts her and the person she's in a relationship with, right? Mm-hmm. And I have definitely navigated those things in just people pleasing in my personality. In middle school, I think I may or may not have talked about, you know, my experiences with feeling bullied. I was a bully too. So like those of you who are watching that were in middle school with me and don't know that my experience of feeling bullied and saw me as a bully, like I apologize for in whatever ways that I may have stepped into that role. And yet I also experienced it for myself too. And what I realized, because I moved from school to school to school, I went to 4 different elementary schools. I went to a middle school that was in that same area, and then another high school that was out of the area I was in. So just moving so many times in my life, I found myself to be very much a chameleon of characteristics and personalities. And so my people-pleasing trait came in as a survival mechanism for myself to blend in, get along with, make new friends, not get outcasted. And, you know, soon enough, it bit me in the butt because then I was an inauthentic version of myself. And people could see right through that, whether they called it that or not. I ended up being exposed, and that was the part of the bullying, right? My facade was being challenged at that point. And so my experience with people pleasing was putting on personas that weren't mine, just because I thought I would fit in or it would make it easier and make it better. I remember being a completely different person at school than I was at home. I could turn it on like a light switch. And I'm sure some of you guys or most of you can resonate with that or relate to that. Like I swore at school, and at home, I was an angel, right? Because I would have got very much yelled at and very much in trouble. So the people pleasing experience for me was really just not knowing who I was and not being my authentic self. And more recently, though, where the people pleasing is showing up more in my life now, because like Chastity is saying, we've grown in the area of I can make a decision for me. If it's gonna just impact me and my family, decisions are made quite quickly and easily nowadays, right? But if it's a decision that's gonna impact outside people and outside relationships, I feel worried that it's going to hurt their feelings or it's going to break the relationship. And ultimately, what it's coming down to is the trust that I have in the relationship, the trust that I have in this person, right?
Right.
And so that's really what I'm navigating. I know this is not one specific story, but that's really what I'm navigating right now. And I just wanted to highlight the subtle nuances of people pleasing. It can be a decision for yourself, like Chastity explains, in a partner, right? Choosing a partner and the family not agreeing. It can be a health decision. That's something that came up in my mind recently too. Families not agreeing with a health choice that I've been making recently, and me just staying steadfast in my decisions. But if it does impact other people, that's where I, up until now, have felt a little bit more shaky.
Yeah.
So, does that
And I
make
like
sense?
that.
Did I explain that well, Chas?
You did. And I think the thing to highlight would definitely be that like people pleasing ends up becoming a mask and we lose ourselves and don't know who we are, what we desire, what we dream of, what we want, because we're living for others instead of ourselves, you know? And I think coming from collectivist cultures as you and I do, like we know we do in, I don't know if I don't want to speak for you on that, but I do see myself as an individual within the community, right? In the collective. So I know that I have influence. I know that I have impact. I know that I'm a part of this collective and that my decisions impact the collective. And I think there's also a thing of like holding on to ourselves within that and holding on to our strengths and our values and our roles, because the individuals also make up the collective, right? So not losing the individuality, but holding on. For me, it's important to hold on to these values of the collective. So for me, I guess I'll say that it's like a balance, you know, like if you are making this, if I'm making decisions at the detriment to myself to please others, right? Or to hold their expectation of me, then that's a clue to myself that I am doing something out of alignment with my highest self and highest
Absolutely.
potential. Yeah. But if I am making decisions like for me, for the greater good that I don't feel is at the expense of me or the detriment of me, then I'm all about making those decisions as well. I'm thinking about my impact. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way that you put that, Chastity, like being an individual within the community, because I think it's so easy to see it get confused. You know, like both of us grew up in the islands, like born and raised here in Hawaii, and it's so easy to, there's again that subtle nuance of sacrificing ourselves for the collective, right? Like that cultural norm that can be assumed. It's like, nope, if it's not good for the whole, then it's not good for you, right? But that's not necessarily true, because we're individuals within this whole community, not we're one whole unit, right? It's not everybody makes the same decision for a single individual, and that can be so in some cultures. But I just love the way that you present that and you explain that, because it's so easily forgotten that we each individually bring something to the table, and that is what the value is with the community. That's really what I've learned in growing up here on the islands, is the strength of the community is highlighting the strength of the individual. The individuality of each person as a collective whole is what strengthens the whole community, versus saying we have to think only the same way all the time, right?
Right. And that there are two values at play, right? Or the two human needs at play would be connection and significance and uniqueness, right? We need both of these things. We need to feel special, unique, different, but we also need to feel connected and loved, you know? Yeah. So I do think coming from a collectivist culture, I prioritize connection and love, right? But I still need individuality and uniqueness and specialness. Yeah. So like holding space for both of those needs, even though one is a priority over another, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
And people please recovery. We need that. We need to realize that too, that it's your needs that are coming to play, right? we have a need to connect. We have a need to be loved and love, right? And that's okay. But we still have a need to be special and unique and individual. And that's important too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So good.
that's beautiful. Yes, thank
Yay.
you.
All right. Thanks for watching. If you're a people pleaser in recovery and you're willing to out yourself like me and Sam just did, a little heart
Let us
in the
know.
comment section. Yeah.
Drop a heart.
Yeah, and share something that you've learned that's really helped you move past people in your life that you love getting upset with you and how you've turned that around for yourself. Yeah. Thank you, sis.
Thank you. Thank you,
Amazing.
everybody.
See you later. Ahui ho.